Good morning. It is Monday, March the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, in fact, of 2025. And here in my old Kentucky home, it is cold. It's like 30-something degrees and very cloudy. And over the weekend, we've had a lot of heavy rains and storms. And last week we had, sunshine and 70-something degrees and really got us kind of in the mood for spring. Now, I'm not going to wish for summer to be here too quickly because the humidity just kills my head. And just like with this weather, at least I can breathe very easily. And I like to be outside a little bit. But when summer comes and it gets very humid, I cannot hardly stand to be outside. But hope everyone's doing well this morning. And first of all, before I tell you the little story I want to tell you for today, I want to ask if you prefer a long video, which when I say long, I'm saying 25, 30 minutes or longer, or do you like shorter videos, like up to like 10, 15, 20 minutes? Now, I have found, but I've told you that in my older years, I have found that I have a shorter attention span. And I really enjoy some of these 10 and 15-minute videos. And especially if you've not watched any of them before, you can kind of find out if that's something that you're interested in. Now, Lois Bayard Rice, I could hear her ramble all day because she's so cute and fun to watch and tells so many stories of her past that to me, she's very interesting. But just her expressions, and you just feel like you're sitting in the room with her. So to me, she's very entertaining. And she has sometimes 25 to 30 minutes, and I can enjoy that. But now, me just being the older person that I am, it seems like on the normal range, 15 to 20 minutes. And so I was going to try to limit mine, excuse me, with that, but sometimes you kind of get carried away telling a story. So if you would leave me a comment and tell me if you like the short or the longer videos. Now, sometimes if I'm listening to a longer video, I just put my little AirPod in and I walk around and might put a load of clothes in the washer or wash some dishes or something and not even watch it as much as just listening to it. But if I'm just sitting on the couch and looking at videos, the shorter ones is, the ones I prefer because I can look at more, I guess. Appreciate all the subscribers and the likes so far. Let's see, I started on February the 27th, and I wish I could tell you. I think I've got like 36 subscribers. So I've got a ways to go, but hopefully that enough people will enjoy watching them that they'll add me on one of these days. But anyway, it seems like that in every video I mention my dad, but he was such a unique individual. I mean, he did his own thing, and you did not influence him one way. You could not change his opinion on something. I mean, he was his own man. So I have a little story I wanted to tell you today about him again, and probably we'll have a lot more in the future. But anyone that knows him, we lived in a small town. He's was always very humble, but very set in his ways. And as, being raised up as a kid, my brother and I, it was my dad's way or the highway. You didn't have an opinion in the matter. He had the authority, which, according to the Bible, he says that the man's supposed to be over the house. Well, he was, and we feared him. It's not that he would beat the daylights out of us, but we just had such a respect for him. I don't know, he was I used to call him, not to his face, because he wouldn't get it, because he's not much of a jokester, which I am. I love to laugh and have fun, and he didn't. He was the king of unfun was my description of him. But then, you know what I did? I turned right around and married a man that they're totally opposites. My husband was not religious at all, but he is the king of unfun and has been for 53 years. So after I got away from my dad being the king of unfun, then I married someone who was the king of unfun. So I'm just a glutton for punishment, I guess. But anyway, we're still married after 53 years. Be 54 in June. All right, back to my dad. He was an evangelist. He was a preacher. He was an evangelist. He never was a pastor of a church. He traveled to different churches, mostly in Tennessee. Even though we live in Kentucky, most of the Tennessee churches were where he visited. And he belonged to an association, they call it, and there's so many churches that belong to this association. And they nominate and vote on an evangelist for a year at a time. And my dad held that position for years and years. But see, most preachers don't like to travel around all the time, especially if you're younger and have a family. Now see, by this time, my dad, we were grown, and it was just him and my mom, and so she would go with him up until she passed in 93. So I'm going to guess it's around 2000. Now, I'm not very good with dates, and I think I've probably told you some dates wrong along. But anyway, about the early 2000s, and I was still working in the school system. I wasn't actually in the classroom at that time. I was a technology coordinator, and I helped teachers throughout our county at the elementaries, middle, and high school, like incorporate technology in their lessons. And I would go around and spend time in the classroom with them and work with the kids and all. I really enjoyed that. So early in 2000, I got just a burden. Now, if you're a Christian or if you're very religious, you'll know what I mean when I say you have a burden. Like sometimes you might get a burden on your heart that you need to help someone or you need to do something. Well, I had this burden on my heart that I needed to do something, but I didn't really know what it was. And, you know, I took piano lessons from the time I was 7 to 12. And I was, you know, I mean, I've put some of the piano music on some videos so far that some of you have listened to. But my parents started my brother and I out singing, and I would play the piano and he would sing at an early age. And I mean, we didn't like it. We were nervous. I was a nervous wreck to get up in front of people. Even though I was behind the piano, I was still very nervous. But we did that, as I've told you before, if there was a church or a revival going on, you know, we were there and we sang, whether you wanted to sing or not. When my dad said, you're going to sing, then you're going to sing. We didn't always have a loving heart as we did that. But anyway, throughout the years, I've played the piano a lot at church, just like for the congregation. My brother has sang for many, many years with different groups, and then he would sing. He and I would go places, and he would sing, I'd play the piano. But in early 2000, I had a burden, and I said, Lord, what is it that you want me to do? And I felt like he wanted me to sing. Well, I didn't want to sing in front of people. You know, even though that I'm a teacher and I have been up in front of kids for years and years, when you're singing, it's a whole different story, because my voice has never been really, really strong, and I have a very limited range of notes I can sing. My voice is kind of an alto voice. So, you know, if you start getting up very high, I can't do it. So I thought, well, if he wants me to sing, I'm going to try to sing. I felt like really that I needed to do that. So I'll never forget the first time I sang in public was on a Wednesday night at this little church I attended. And I sang In Times Like These. I need a Savior in times like these. Da, 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 da. But anyway, I was petrified. And I told him, I said, I'm scared to death, but I want to try to sing this song for you. And from that night, I continued just like to use them as my guinea pigs to get up a little confidence to sing. And like today, if you ask me to sing a special song, I'm kind of out of that for right now. I'm just, a lot of things have been going on that I've not felt like I can sing. But anyway, as my dad was going to Tennessee about every Sunday, he had his a calendar laid out, and he had scheduled like where he was going to preach like this Sunday morning and then that Sunday night. And he would leave his house like 6 o'clock on Sunday mornings and not get home till like 10 o'clock at night because it was too far to drive back and forth. It was about a 2-hour drive, hour and a half, depending on where he was going. So after I started singing a little bit, and he was by himself. See, my mother traveled with him for years. He was lonesome, but he was in good health, and he drove, very independent, didn't ask me for nothing. But I thought, I'm going to start going. I'm going to try to start going with him to these churches, and I'll sing, and he can preach. And I'm telling you, the people in Tennessee love my dad. They loved him. You couldn't help but love him, but if you'd lived with him as long as I had, you might have a little different opinion because we crossed paths at times. So I'd get up. Now, I live about 10 miles from my dad, so I would get up like 5 o'clock on Sunday morning. Now, remember, I'm working Monday through Friday at the school. On Saturdays, you've got washing, you've got your house to clean, you've got stuff to keep up with. I had a family, my husband and my son. He was still here at that time. It was kind of hard, but I'm not tooting my own horn because I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. And I'm so thankful that I got to spend those years with my dad doing this. I traveled with him for probably about 5 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. Almost every Sunday, I would be up at his house by 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would drive his car. Now, here's the kicker. If you've watched any other of my videos, I told in a couple of videos back, my dad did not spend 1 penny on Sunday because he always believed that, you should not like go to McDonald's and buy something because you're causing those people to have to work. You buying something that Sunday is the day of rest and you shouldn't buy. We didn't buy gas. We didn't buy anything on Sunday. All right. On our little trips to Tennessee every Sunday, if we went to like Oneida, Tennessee, which we did a lot, we would get on the Parkway, which is now the Cumberland Parkway. I can't remember what it was called back then, but it was a toll road. Well, guess what? You know what toll road means? You got to pay that toll to ride on that nice 4-lane highway. We couldn't do it. We had to go on the old road, which was narrow and 2 lanes, because he would not pay the toll on Sunday. I think one of them was 60 cents, and then another one was 30 cents. So that was kind of a bummer right there, but we made it. All right, we'd get down to these churches. We had to get there about an hour early, but that was okay with me because I have always trained myself to be at work early, to be anywhere that I needed to go early, because I just think that's a sign of respect, that you don't just keep people hanging on or, coming in late. And how does that make you feel when you get there late? If you're a school teacher, you can't get there later, it's going to ruin your whole day. You got to have a little time to kind of calm down and get things ready. So here we were, 6 o'clock in the morning, headed off to Tennessee on the 2-lane road. And we'd get down there about an hour early. Well, if we went to Oneida, they had a nice McDonald's there. And I couldn't believe this. He would let us stop and go to the bathroom after we'd driven, hour and a half or 2 hours. But hey, don't mention, I wouldn't have mentioned, do you care if I buy me a Diet Coke? I wouldn't have done that. Here I was in my 60s and still seeking the approval of my father. All right, no Diet Coke there, but I always had one in the car with me. We would get onto the church, and during the preaching service, I would sing a couple of songs. He would preach, old-fashioned preacher, screaming and yelling, and, if you've ever seen one of those, you know what I'm talking about. And then at the end, one day he said, I wish you would learn the song softly and tenderly. And at the end, when he would give an altar call, he would want me to play softly and tenderly. So I did. Then the church service is over. Okay, now it's a little after 12 o'clock by this time. But remember, we're over 2 hours away from home, and we've still got to go to church tonight. And you know what? I'm going to stop this video, and I'm going to finish that story for the next one. So I hope that you will tune in and listen to it. And I hope that you will like and subscribe, because I'm just having such a good time meeting so many new people. And I have just subscribed to this young couple in Alaska that are just so much fun. They live, 200 miles from the nearest town, have to have their groceries flown in. Hey, and I went to Alaska one summer when I was in my 50s. Well, 50s must have been my time. But anyway, I'm going to get back to you on that. And I hope you like this. And I'd love a comment. And I hope everyone has such a great day, even if it's cold. Hey, we're going to just be thankful and enjoy it. And we're going to be peaceful and content and not complaining, because, hey, there's people a lot worse off than we are. So just have a good day, and I will see you soon to finish the story of my dad and me and the trips to Tennessee. Bye-bye.